Jamano Money Transfer Bureau de Change, your go-to option when it comes to money transfer. With Jamano, you can send money from anywhere in the world to your family and loved ones in the Gambia and be sure the funds will be delivered to them within the shortest time possible. For your convenience, funds sent through Jamano Money Transfer can be picked from all the banks and multiple other financial institutions, including Ajib Bank, Trust Bank, GT Bank, Mega Bank, Basic Bank, Reliance Financial Services, and Approved Services. Visit our head office at Bruceby opposite AfricMed next to Trust Bank Limited or email us at info@jamanomt.com. You can as well call us on 310-3050 or 310-3051 or yet still 733-0688. Our opening hours are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. Jamano Money Transfer, your most trusted money transfer service where customer satisfaction is paramount. When you think of a simple, fast, and reliable money transfer, think Jamano Money Transfer.
Agada di.
Mbijan aganya.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyinji.
Okay. Important. Nsila ID soto.
Ha, sa soto. Sorry. Agada di.
Mbijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariaka.
Ah,
mbare. Mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariaka.
Jannom Yona Forest de Bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbari ya bere. Birim koyna fo katon.
Bari si kodo kino katon nim fo bolong blabe ko.
56 branches mola soto Gambia jam.
Ha?
Gambia kono anin Gambia bantala bankol. Nka kodo kiya bere. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw. Jannom number 1 di nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale le dadi mani domorol dir fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je.
Wo moyo diat.
Apelenta
barka ba ya lafta nyelan kendol e bina.
Yalo bukani la ko la barka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Barka.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Hello and welcome to the brunch on Kerfatu Live. I'm Lamin Cham. This week we continue with our debate on current affairs. Last week I had the Honorable Lamin Mane, the Diaspora Deputy Secretary for Diaspora of the United Democratic Party, on the issues burning in his party. Today I have with me academician and politician Momodou, a former presidential aspirant in the last presidential election and hopefully still one in the coming one. But today he will serve as an analyst as we go through most of the major stories that happened in the last 7 days. Thank you, Ba, for coming even under the rains.
Thank you, Mr. Jam. Thank you.
Good. How is the academic world? You've been in Senegal and other places, I'm sure.
Yeah, sure. So we're moving on in the academy. That's our profession.
Yeah.
Teaching is our profession. So this, politics is just part-time. It's just a part-time thing.
But somebody who wants to become president cannot say politics is part-time.
No.
That is a big ambition.
No, what I mean part-time is we are not earning a living through
Oh,
politics.
I understand. Yes.
So
Yes.
we just spare our time
Yes.
and dedicate it to our nation.
Yes.
And then try to advocate for development.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Okay.
But our true
But
profession,
everyday occupation
yeah,
is in the classroom.
in
and
classroom,
in the lecture room.
auto as well,
Writing
writing,
and inspiring.
interpreter,
Okay. Interpreting. also.
interpreting and other activities.
Good. All right. I'm sure I will save you about your own movement and ambition for 2026. But let's talk about things that are happening in other areas. If I don't know whether you're going to compete with or against the NPP or the UDP. So you must have taken interest in what is happening there. And we will also talk about the recent happening in Parliament, that is the FPAC report on the investigation that was conducted in the sale of Russian oil under suspicious circumstances. All right. First, though, like I said last week, the United Democratic Party Deputy External Affairs official Lamin Mane was here. You must have heard what happened in the UDP, or in the recent past. You had it looks like there was a high-profile, row in the party, and it seemed to have centered around whether there might even be a shift now from the old guard to the younger guard, and if that is the case, who is likely to be a successor to the old guard? That was the debate, and we had exchanges, some very bitter exchanges from what seemed to have been one gang and the other, or against the other. But then the veteran party leader came down to say, well, he will be interested in contesting. And normally, as far as the party is concerned, historically, when he is interested, that's a foregone conclusion. Even though they would say there's always a process, for anybody to throw his or her hat in the ring. But then we all know he is so revered that hardly anybody really knows a serious ambition within the party to succeed him as party's flag bearer. Having said that, though, there have been, very strong feelings even among themselves that perhaps there's time for them to change over to the younger guard. So that is what is the current debate. Even though Mr. Davo's intervention seemed to have dosed the flames, people still believe that there are still much work to be done to reconcile the UDP. How did you react to all this? How do you see this?
Yeah, I think what is going on is very normal as a political party, just like any political party in the country and in the world. Sometimes there are differences. And in this case, the UDP is a big political party. that has big names in the party. And also, just like our local proverb says, "Nyari kui hejuñ ci benn mbalka." You know, literally, you know, instead of using kui ram, but we can use here, you know, like lion.
Yeah.
You know,
You
two
said
lions cannot fit
be in
in
one
the same
tank.
den.
One den, yeah.
Yeah, cannot be in the same den.
Okay.
So but
So-
here it's not. It's even more than 2 lions.
So, it's 3 lions.
3 to 4 lions. You know.
I was
Okay,
going to say
let's say
the England team, but you are-
one big lion. You know, 2 lions and a lioness.
I see.
You know, so it's 3 of them, like 4 in the same den. Okay, so now the status quo is that the biggest lion, the father, His Excellency Lawyer Hussein Davo, you know, he still wants to be president. You know, like he's not denying the fact, but he says that he wants to be president. He wants to contest again.
Yes.
You know, just as, you know, others did before him, like just like the people like Abdullah Wad. He contested so many times until 2000, where he became president. And Nelson Mandela also was in the prison for 27 years, and few other candidates, you know, presidents, you know. So, you know, he wants to follow the footsteps of those people. So now, the status quo, you know, in UDP right now is that the position is not vacant.
It's not vacant.
Yes, the position is not vacant. So before you succeed, there must be a vacant
Position.
But the position is not vacant. And the problem is now there are ambitions. You know, so it is ambitions versus the status quo.
I see.
So the status quo is that the party leader, you know, the founder, you know, someone who contested almost in all the elections but one, is now, you know, he still wants to be president. The other people, like the other lions, you know, so they are rowing now.
Who are those lion and lioness? According to you.
Yeah, so you have 2 lions.
Okay.
Brikama, you know, under the leadership of Honorable
Yankuba Davo.
Lord Mayor Yankuba Davo,
Chairman Davo, yeah.
Chairman Davo, you know, and then KMC under
Talib Bensouda.
Talib Bensouda, Mayor Talib Bensouda, and the lioness
BCC.
BCC.
Rohi.
Yeah, so
Malik Law.
so they are all in the savannah of politics. They are in their woodlands, you know, trying to, you know, do politics, you know, according to some of them, their ambitions. Because what Talib is doing also, it is very clear that Talib is ambitious. You know, then it is the actions that Talib is doing is visible to everybody. Because like you are in a party, you are in a political party, but you are doing some activities beyond your area. So you are going to Farafenye, you are going to Kaur, you know, you are going to Birkamo, you are going to other places. So some of his, you know, colleagues will see that, you know, he's just trying to use up power.
But then, yeah, he's been accused by
Yes.
some of his colleagues of trying to form a base
Yes.
with an ambition to be flag bearer.
I think that is visible. That is very visible. And that is undeniable.
Okay.
You know, and Talib is not denying anything like such, trying to expand his base.
Yes.
You know,
Even
So-
after the row, he continued to honor invitations in the province.
exactly.
You see that still as expanding his base.
Yeah, so he's expanding his base because
So-
he believes that, you know,
So how do you reconcile with that, with the fact that you said, according to the party leader, there's no vacancy?
yeah, according to the party leader, there is no vacancy,
So if
and
Talib
then
is nosing for that
and then according to the party leader, you know, like when you choose your successor, you know, he doesn't mind choosing a successor, but it should be somebody who has clearly shown his intention.
But
and also it will be somebody who would unite, who would be able to unite the party. These are the criteria that are being set
think it's
by Davo himself.
They often said it's the party's structures that does these selections and not by one person. That's what we heard they say. Oh, that's what they said always used to happen.
Yeah, you know, there are political.
So that's why Davo himself said, I will put forward my name. He did not categorically say that I will be. He said, if the party honors, if they give him the honors. Well, of course, most people's assumption.
But that is very normal. That is very normal.
Most
Be it
people's assumption
UDP
is
or
that
any other party.
Yeah.
You know, the party can put forward only one candidate,
Yeah, that's what I'm
and
saying.
that is through a congress. They go to a congress and then they nominate their candidate. So the party can bear only one candidate and could present only one candidate to the to the elections.
Yeah, that's what
So
I'm
now anybody who is ambitious, you have to be clear on what you are doing. Bang the door. Create your political party. You know, you have a huge fan base. You know, some people are advocating for your presidency. That is true. You know, so you start going. Or, you know, you just say, okay, as long as His Excellency Lawyer Davo is the flag bearer, and then he shows his intention to run for presidency again, then I'm going to align and abide by the party rules and regulations.
So what do you
to support them?
Okay, what do you expect? Do you still believe that those people, lion and lioness in those different dens, are going to, despite Davo expressing interest, are still going to, you know, go after their ambitions? Or because some of them have always said, oh, well, at least all of them have said that they believe Davo, they will not abandon him. But do you think despite that, people, one or two among them might still want to run, or maybe in this case, if Davo is running and they are not selected, break away if the worst comes to the worst?
Yeah, you know, recently there has been a quarrel between Davo, Yankuba Davo, and Davo and Talib through the social media. You know, Davo, Yankuba Davo started, you know, warning, roaring, saying, "Stop! This is my territory. This is my wetland. So you don't have to encroach in my wetland. You don't also have to put forward your ambition to the presidency. There is one candidate, and he's called Lawyer Ousainou Dabo. You know, and then there are issues of also."
But how do you interpret that? Was Yankuba Dabo trying to express his own interest in it, or he was trying to tell Talib, stop there, and we all follow Ousainou Dabo? Or in saying that this is my territory and he comes here without informing me.
He comes here without informing.
Yeah, is he just trying to say?
And he even went further, saying, okay, there is a Mandinka phobia, you know.
Well, so that I don't want to talk about.
Yeah,
it.
which
Although it is often said, but I don't want to talk about tribe in this man. I'm trying to talk about when he said this is, in fact, he said that for anybody who wants support from, you know, I mean, West Coast, I mean, you have to pass through him. So can that be interpreted as he himself also expressing interest in going to be a flag bearer, or he's probably trying to stop Talib from from what he said was trying to hijack you know, the process even before the process. But then he eventually went and said emphatically that if leadership is no longer Ousainou and it is Talib, he's going to go his way. So that is what actually raised the stake higher and raised the fear for,
you know, the whole issue
for division.
The whole issue of Talib Kam, Dabo, Yankuba Kam, or someone another Rohis Kam, you know, it was just perceived as a rumor, but now at some point it exploded. So in this explosion, what you could analyze from their actions is that, you know, Talib, it is true that Talib has been taking moves, towards his presidential ambition. This is very clear by everybody. Okay, but Young's, on the other hand, truth be told, has been aligned or is aligned with the party's regulation. What he is doing on the ground, we don't know. You cannot tell. But visibly, he hasn't shown anything, that indicates that he wants to be a flag bearer. But for Talib, we could see that. So now, but what happens on the ground, you don't know. I don't know. So it's only Yankuba who could,
when he spoke
clarify that.
When he spoke out, a lot of people greeted his his statement, so his interview was very frank and candid discussion. But then he should have not said it in public. And Davo himself said that statement and that of Rohit were regretted.
Yeah.
I mean, so the issue is, even if they must have come out with a valid argument that, somebody is trying to hijack the process for himself, but then people still blame them for coming out in the open to discuss that and not, they might have, I think there have been indications that they have complained about it internally.
Yes.
But the fact that they came out, it doesn't seem, is it not a failure of leadership to nip it, at the board?
Yeah, for me, you cannot just call it a leadership failure. For me, as I told you, different people who have different ambitions, and then just like Yankuba, he feels that, he could be candidate personally deep inside him, even though he doesn't. Even though he never said it publicly, but people behind him, he knows that he's moving on that direction.
So you want to tell me that
he's moving on that direction.
So you want to tell me all these people? Because as one analyst said,
yes,
all of them are kings and queens in their regions.
Absolutely.
But
now that Yankuba is seeing that Talib is making moves while he is not making any move. He's just standing, just being behind the leadership, doing what is required of him. And another candidate, another potential candidate is taking steps. So he's going ahead of him. So they are not on, equal, they are not on equal footing. So maybe that outing was a matter of, just trying to, say a stop to him, just try to, stop his, progress, so that they could start again afresh.
You think that?
So that they could start again afresh, and then, throw their weight behind the UDP leadership.
But in any case, this does not tell well about unity in the UDP. How do you think the leadership will do to reunite the people? Do you think they will succeed in it? Don't you think, as others said, it's too late now? I mean, there's no way that one or two of these people might, chart their own course.
Yeah, if similar quarrel of such caliber occurs again, it could be a way of someone who wants to, go out and form his own party. It could be an opportunity for him, be it Talib or Yankuba. Though Talib, never communicate regarding to such, whether he's going to quit or this thing. It's Yankuba who said it clearly that if this happened, for me, I'm out. I'm not going to be behind him. But Talib never mentioned anything like that. Talib also never tried to, deny certain accusations, that he's harboring some political ambitions. But if a similar, quarrel occurs again, we are not praying for them. It's only good intention that we have for them. So, it's not our business. It's not our problem.
Well,
I'm not UDP, so we are just talking from our own, point of view, and it could. It could be. It could be the contrary. But
you might get accused. But what is your business in UDP? But these are
as a political analyst.
These are political movements that that Gambians, needs to know about.
Absolutely.
Needs to talk about. Needs to scrutinize. So they cannot escape.
And there are some certain things,
and commentaries. There's no way that can be stopped.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, we're moving on to the National People's Party, the NPP. I mean, as recent as yesterday, we heard that there have been structural changes actually in the wake of the sacking, or rather the expulsion of certain members of the party led by the then youth president, Keba Madi Bojang. Now, there have been, and his gang. Now we heard that this is the current restructuring that happened there. Momodou Sabali, who was formerly deputy campaign manager, is appointed now as national youth president. Abdullah Cham, who was public relations officer then of the national youth wing, is now deputy national campaign manager. So Sabali is succeeded by Abdullah Cham. And Sabali succeeded Keba Madi Bojang, but Keba was the youth president. Honorable Ramsey Jab, who used to be of UDP, is now a co-opted member of the National Executive Committee of the NPP, and so also is Musa Bisuso, Musa Bisuso,
former MP.
Yes,
Sukuta,
MP and deputy governor, and one Omar Biai is also an executive member, co-opted member. Yusufa Jamme of Tanje is public relations officer for the National Youth Wing, while Lamin Sao is appointed as deputy public relations officer of the National Youth Wing. The party says these strategic appointments underscore the party's unwavering commitment to youth empowerment, grassroots mobilization, and inclusive national development in preparation for upcoming national engagements. So, is it realignment to fill a gap that has been created by the apparent rebellion and further expulsion of the former youth leader and his gang? Or you think this is now a strategy and a star-studded, as we call in football, a star-studded team they want to put up for the next coming elections? What is your reaction? What is your analysis?
Yeah, I believe that, this is the impact of Keba Madi Bojang.
Really?
Yes, Keba Madi Bojang, is just not a mere member. Wasn't a mere member of
so he's
NPP.
Not a small
he was a key member. You're talking about the youth president,
yes,
of an incumbent government, NPP. Someone who is very influential in the party, someone who has connections with all the youths throughout the country.
Really?
Yes. He has a very, very big political machine in his hand. So this is why they had to find his replacement.
Do you think, as they said, they can do away with him?
No. The damage is already done. Somebody, as I told you, someone who just like you ran away with the brain box.
Are you sure?
Yeah, so just like he stole the brain box.
Sabali is equally popular with the youth.
But Sabali is just coming. Sabali is just coming.
He seemed to be very effective. In identifying the party and himself with the cause of the youth. So maybe, as the party said, strategically, because his mantra has been youths. Youth are happy, and he's always target the youths and trying to inspire them. Maybe the party found him to be, a very useful tool in that regard. Hence the change of portfolio from deputy campaign manager, which I think was a very suitable position for him, because given his elegance and combative nature.
But Sabali always wants to attach himself, to the youth.
So possibly
that may have been the reason why he was given that position.
But you believe he cannot fill the shoes of Kebamad?
No, not believing that he cannot fill the shoes. He does what he does best. In politics, everyone knows that.
Yes.
But what I'm just saying is that the space that has been left by Keba Madi Bojan will definitely be
So you
will definitely be felt by NPP.
I see.
By NPP,
Does
because
that mean he has a following?
yeah, no, it's
Like
just
following
it's just
or
like
influence?
it's just like he was in direct contact with all their youths throughout the country. So he has the capacity to mobilize. He has the capacity, to convince some of them. He has the capacity to damage them, which he is currently doing. Yes. Yeah, I'm aware of it. I know what he's doing. So
Oh, you
yes.
You know what he's doing?
Yeah, I know what he's doing.
Maybe the
He's
NPP.
he's really doing a great damage.
Really?
to NPP. Yeah.
Okay. You heard what Sabali said. The other Sabali, the agriculture minister, the deputy national president. He said Keba Madi and others were ungrateful. They had, had a lot of privileges and things, given to them, empowered financially and other things. People criticize the minister for saying, well, are you saying that you go about inducing people? Is that what you're talking about? But
yeah, that only exposes, their corrupt nature, and this is why, the Gambian people need to stand firm against the NPP in 2026.
Now you are putting on your political colors. I want you to remain as an analyst. I don't know how long can you remain neutral.
Yes, but it is normal to elaborate the fact that that is an act of corruption. What he's saying. Trying to provide funds to a particular group of people who are entrusted with power. So when that comes from a state minister, confirming that, whether an allegation or what, but you have to take it serious. You have to take it seriously. Something that should be denounced, whether I'm a political leader or analyst or anything, but we have to say that is not correct.
Okay. This Keba Madi, talking about the NDP, is yet to be formed. In fact, they're going around. I think the NPP accused them. Well, didn't say directly, but accused them of going to people and asking for endorsement. I think what that is attestation for registering the party.
He has a huge contact. Keba Madi has a huge contact with him
within the same NPP supporters.
Yeah, within the same NPP supporters. So he's successful in trying to divide it into two parts. So he holds one share, and the president holds another share, because he was the youth president and very powerful for that matter. He was a very, very powerful youth president, in NPP. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that he's such a quite influential party.
Very, very influential. As things stand, NPP is divided into two factions.
How can you say that?
Yeah.
They believe that
he goes with a chunk of the supporters.
Really?
Yeah.
The NPP, on the contrary, is showing that they are more formidable.
That's what they can say. That's the only thing that they can say. They would deny.
If you see the lineup, they brought in Musa Suso, and he used to be influential in the West Coast. Perhaps they believe that they can mount a force.
Yeah,
that can really replace or counter Keba Madi.
Yeah, he used to be. He used to be.
Okay. Yes, because President Barrow himself, while he was opening the Bundung headquarters, hinted at the fact that things might not be all rosy, because he advised them to put their house in order and check whether they are actually listening to the people. Perhaps yes, you may be right in saying that maybe there is a little bit of uneasiness after Keba Madi's controversial departure. Yeah. Hence the president or the party leader himself saying we need to put our house in order. But the impression the NPP is giving is actually one of a formidable force, a united force. They bring everybody on board, and President Barrow is embracing and welcoming every Tom and Dink who comes. Look at these people who were in the opposition. Most of them are now well integrated and structured within the party's influential positions. Yeah. That's quite strategic.
Yeah, so that's it. So they just give a political reward, to some, and others.
But is it not a sign and demonstration of tolerance too? Okay, the last week we were discussing this. We said, what's President Barrow's strategy in absorbing those who have been the fiercest critics of him? If you talk about doctors, Dr. Cisse, or the Minister of Information, and you talk about Momodou, these people are the most vocal critics of it. But now he had been able to muster, tolerance and even, put them in positions of influence. Come on, you may say that's a reward, yeah, but then you have to accept the fact that he has shown considerable tolerance. Some people, would say, hey, what?
For me, it's not being tolerant. It's just being, trying to recruit more influential people to your party. That's very normal. Just like lower teams or just, normally do. In the Premier League.
Or a strategy to silence the critics.
Yeah. So if you are a big team, you just try to go to another team where there is talent. You bring him, you scout him, you bring him, and then that will make your team stronger. So that's the only thing, but not being tolerant. It's just for his personal benefit.
But I know some people in politics, the last thing they will do is to bring people who have even criticized them once into their fold. They will say, no way. You might be one.
That wouldn't be the case. That wouldn't be the case anymore. They've tried it, and then once I turned the back, and that's for good.
Did they try to approach you?
Yeah, absolutely, they did.
So you mean the NPP?
Yeah.
And what was your response?
No, with capital NNO.
You're not gonna work with them?
No.
No amount of enticement.
Absolutely, I haven't seen that.
Really?
Yeah.
But even if you are taken as a technocrat,
no,
they don't want to use you in politics. But given a
no, I have my personal agenda. I have my own agenda. And I'm candidate to the presidency of the Republic of the Gambia 2026, and this is what we are working on.
So you can't.
So no, it's not possible. That's in the past.
Okay, yeah. Right. All right, let's move on to the National Assembly. You must have had, at least if you haven't read the report on the FPAG, but you must have had some of the reactions and comments. And FPAG, that is the committee with the other committees who investigated.
Yeah, the PEC.
Yes, the PEC and the FPAG.
Yeah.
The Russian oil. Okay, let's give it a background. There was a Russian ship loaded with fuel that came into our waters and was permitted to dump its products at our depot, the Gambia Petroleum. That's a national institution. First of all, the policy on oil marketing was changed to allow that, because nobody could enter the foreign market directly. But that ship and its products entered the foreign market directly. Companies were formed that were allegedly not either properly registered or licensed, or procedures were not followed. They opened banks, a process that's also criticized to be not above board. There were allegations of bribery so that officials can look the other way. And there was also, importantly, when the police tried to investigate, allegedly an order from top for the police investigation to stop. Now, even though the Parliamentary Inquiry Committee said they didn't have tangible evidence of corruption, but they highlighted in the report certain, certain activities that they believe were quite not above board, and they even recommended that certain officials, including two currently serving ministers, and some officials should be penalized. Punitive action should be taken against them, meaning, okay, there should be some sort of a penalty for them, not just to compensate or for something. But apparently no tax was paid for such amount of transaction. Policy was bent to allow the ship to come. Processes that are not above board were discovered, even though they didn't see direct evidence of bribery. But then the whole report seemed to have suggested that certain things were not done the right way.
Yeah, so one thing that this current government is good at is lack of transparency.
Okay.
And it is affecting a lot our country. What you've just said here, is what we could learn from it is that there is tax evasion, there is bribery,
Well,
there is an alleged. Yeah, there is an alleged.
They said they haven't seen proof of that.
They are all alleged allegations. You know,
Yeah.
so we are talking under the context of allegation until you know proven guilty. Okay, but you know there is tax evasion, tax evasion. There is bribery, there is corruption, you know, and there is also malfunction of state institutions, you know, and also a lack of strong policies, you know, to deal with that, you know, and it will impact on our governance, it will impact on our economy, because like imagine, according to the report, over 428 million dollars were paid into the account of that company.
Yeah.
And then, you know, normally when payments are done, it should be taxed.
Exactly.
So at least no GRA has not collected any tax from those transactions.
Yeah.
So that is already a tax evasion scandal there. You know, bribery. Also, it is alleged that there are some authorities, local authorities here, you know, who are receiving monthly payments amounting up to $600,000 dollars, which is unacceptable. You know, so it raises the question to say whether some of our local authorities, our civil some, okay, whether they are working for the state,
the testimony of
or they are working for themselves, or they are working for few individual people.
Exactly. The testimony of the director of the Financial Intelligence Unit, that is a unit in the central bank, it is Financial Intelligence Unit.
Yeah, they refused to,
the director, they did not disclose, they did not testify in public, but then the parliamentary report captured, and of course they had to publish their report, which contains their testimony. So you know, not testify in camera was actually requested by the unit because of the sensitivity of their work. But you know, they cannot hide from the people who are investigating, and eventually they came out with a report. The director, you know, he said that yes, their operations are entirely discreet. How they operate, because they are intelligence units financially. He said they had received a tip-off from a whistleblower about this Russian oil scandal, and acting on that information, the unit began gathering intelligence on the matter. And he said the petroleum products in question were brought into the country by a company called Apogee FZC, a company registered in Dubai, not even in the Gambia. He emphasized that in order to operate legally in the oil sector, companies must be registered locally and licensed by the Public Utilities Regulation Authority, PURA, which is a requirement apparently Apogee FC failed to meet.
Yeah, so
the FIU, he said, subsequently shared their intelligence report with the Inspector General of Police, the Commissioner General of the GRA, and the Governor of the Central Bank. He said no feedback was received from any of those institutions. So I mean, the FIU director said they shared this intelligence with all these three, the police, the GRA, and the Central Bank, but no feedback from those institutions. He also confirmed that the Gambia Police Force initially established a task force to investigate the matter, and that the FIU officer was assigned, an FIU officer was assigned to the team. But according to the FIU director, the investigation was abruptly called off with no explanation provided. In one of the most damning revelations, he said, the director, I mean, whether it's a he or she, they operate discreetly, said a senior government official was allegedly receiving a monthly payment of $600,000 from the Russians in order to facilitate importation of the petroleum products. So, even on the basis of the testimony of the FIU director, a lot of institutions actually failed to act on the matter, and then, you know, and interestingly, the investigation was stopped.
Yeah,
this
that
is why perhaps the parliamentary committee recommended or kind of indicted or reprimanded certain institutions and certain public officials for not doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, so this raises the questions of our institution, the integrity of our institutions, because there are policies that should govern an institution, and it shouldn't be restricted, to any member. For example, I even read some report that the SIS, the State Intelligence, unit
or the State Intelligence Service,
it's a
SIS.
service,
wanted to be part of it.
wanted to be there for to have an observer status,
yes.
but
that was rejected.
but that was rejected. So, and then even some journalists at the National Assembly,
Yes.
even some journalists also,
Yes, in some testimonies,
were denied access,
yes,
to such committees.
yeah. But then, of course,
and I think it raises some questions.
Yeah.
And now, but the impact, let us look at the general impact.
Yeah.
The damage that it does for the country.
Yeah.
That is, loss of.
This report will be presented to the plenary for adoption. This is from the joint committee, and it will go to plenary for adoption.
Yes.
But whether or not it's adopted,
Yes. So let's
what is already done, like
look
you
at
said.
Let's look at the impact.
Yeah.
You
You said, the exposure.
Yeah.
The report exposes certain lapses
Certain lapses
that are quite serious.
Institutional integrity.
Yeah.
Is there,
and having high-ranking officials.
and then also loss of revenue.
Yeah.
Loss of revenue.
Absolutely.
Because you cannot register such kind of
And it has
country without
and it also has international implications.
because
oil marketing is
your reputation.
oil marketing is an international activity. So
Yeah.
if it is known and confirmed by parliamentary inquiry that in the Gambia you can bend rules and allegedly bribe officials on top, and even police investigations can be halted from a telephone call from somebody, and that's not a good reputation.
That's why I say let's just try to look at the impact, the damage it does for our country.
Yeah.
It means we lost some revenue.
Yeah.
In it, whereby millions of dollars could have been received, collected by GRA, that will have been used in various forms of development. That is a loss. And then it also raises questions of the integrity of our institutions, public institutions, and that is not good for our international partners.
Yeah.
And also the other damage it does, it erodes public trust. It erodes public trust, because already people are saying that we have a government. Not only me saying that, this is the government people saying. It's a government that does not promote good governance. That does not punish those who commit bribery or acts of corruptions, etc. So it fuels that. So it erodes a public trust, and this could lead to instability in the country, because you have seen it with the Gala protest. What were they requesting? They were requesting that the assets of the Jame, the Jame assets, be known to the public, for transparency. So, and then that led them to go to the street. It could have been worse, but thank God, thanks to prayers, it happened the way it happened. But future things like such would create instability in this country. And as the President of the Republic of the Gambia, he should work towards, serving the peace, peaceful coexistence, of the people.
Good. The inquiry that has just ended in the Russian girls, I'm connecting it to one that has just started into Jamme's assets. The parliamentary inquiry have been set up to.
Yeah, a lot of inquiries, and in the end, you don't have.
Just as this one is done, people expect them to, bring a report committee to the plenary, bring in what they found out, and their recommendations, just like the committee did, and it will be adopted by the plenary. It will be the parliament's position on this. Whether or not, there will be a majority of MPs who will agree with it. That's a different matter. But then at least the inquiry the findings are known and digested by the public. Do you expect similar this thing on the Jammeh Assets Parliamentary Committee?
Yeah, I think we talk about the parliament. Who is having majority there. Is the incumbent. You look at the institutions, who are the authorities who are involved in these scandals. So is the government or is the president, willing to
be serious?
To show transparency, to punish, those who
let there be consequences.
Yes, there should be there should be consequences. There should be sanctions. Those who are involved in wrongdoings should be sanctioned. But we shouldn't promote. That's just like promoting corruption, promoting bribery. So, and we have to end that. And our biggest problem as a country and our biggest problem in Africa is corruption. As long as we don't tackle this, we cannot count ourselves as a developed country.
Okay, finally we move on to another issue, that was petroleum. Do we have or we don't have petrol or oil? That is a professional name for it. President Barrow said in the last State of the Nation address that his government alone spent $100 million trying to establish whether we have oil in the country, and so far the report have not said we have found one. But then people still continue to ask, why were we not told since? And people still cling on to this assumption that if Senegal can have it, and our wells are neighbors, it is plausible that we can have it. And some went even to paint very, 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 very wild allegations saying that maybe our oil is already been tapped, through some pipes laid secretly in the water, and our oil been tapped and been taken to oil terminals in Dakar and been extracted. Well, of course, like I said, President Barrow said we don't have oil. If we had it, the commitment he has in developing the country, people would have seen in his actions. And he said they spent $100 million trying to establish that, even under his regime alone. But so far, no oil has been. So, what do you make of that?
Yeah, first of all, I believe that there is oil in this country.
How do you?
Yes, I'm coming. I just want to bring an affirmation to what you just said. That I personally believe there is oil in this country. Why I believe there is oil? Because there is a oil basin, along the coastline called Mauritania, Senegal, Gambia, and Bissau. MSGB.
Oh,
basin.
That's the basin.
Yes,
yeah,
that's the MSGB basin.
I had that acronym. Yes.
Okay, so this is the MSGB basin.
That is Mauritania, Senegal, Gambia, and Guinea
and Bissau.
Yeah, I had it.
So there is already that basin. So, and it passes through the Gambia. In fact, we are not very far from the coast. We are just on the coastline of the country. Yeah. The river, the sea is just behind us.
Yes.
And if you look at the positioning of Sangomar, Sangomar is just a border, in the sea, with the Gambia. So if Senegal could have oil, so why not Gambia? So going through the allegation of saying whether they are tapping into our oil or not, that is that we cannot say because we have no proof. But it is up to the Senegalese people. It is up to the Senegalese government, Diomaye and Sonko administration, to make things clear, to the Gambian people. But also, there must be a willingness from the Gambian government
to ask.
Because if you don't ask, you cannot be told.
Maybe they already know it is not true. If the government of the Gambia
No. If it is not true, Jammeh wouldn't have built.
But you don't believe
Jammeh wouldn't have built a whole petroleum house. A whole petroleum house. A whole petroleum house.
Yes.
A whole petroleum house.
Yes, training people.
Was built.
Yes.
Okay. To signify that the Gambia was ready You know,
the potential must have been there.
Yeah, the Gambia was ready to exploit petrols, and we've all heard the Gambia audios.
Yes.
We might not believe 95% or 90 or 80% of what he said, but at least there's a chunk of truth in what he said. You know, so you cannot, we cannot, the Gambia, we have oils, and then there were steps that were taken. You know, he took some. We saw it. We have some friends. You know, some former classmates. You know, who went to study petroleum in Taiwan. You know, Venezuela, and other countries.
Yes.
The plan was to set up. You know, to exploit the oil. So what happened in between when he left? So these are some questions that we have to raise as a country. We have to be frank. You have to be frank enough, you know, to discuss this, to put this on the table. But it is just not mere saying, okay, there is no oil, and then we believe in it. We cannot believe in that.
So you, as others have said, the government should bring proof.
Definitely.
That our data to say that our oil is not commercially viable.
Yes, and they should.
And the geological studies that led to that.
They should ask the Senegalese government, you know, to shed light on what happened there.
So you believe we have oil?
Absolutely. We have oil. We have other resources in the country.
So
we can develop this country through our own natural resources.
So what would you have said should be done? What would you say should be done now with this scenario? I mean, you tend not to believe in the government.
Yeah. A parliamentary inquiry also should be put in place for this oil.
The oil
matter.
too.
Yes. Parliamentary inquiry. Yeah, I'm suggesting that. Yeah.
Should also be for the oil too.
Yes, for the oil too.
Okay.
In fact, joint one with, you know, the Senegalese government as well. The Gambian parliamentary, you know, the Senegalese parliamentary, and even ECOWAS. So shed light on this, because one of the most, you know, there are key issues that are sources of war. You know, that there are land issues, you know, resources issues, natural resources issues, ethnicism, you know, and other different types, you know. So natural resources is one factor, you know, and then but our relationship with Senegal, you know, should be a peaceful one. So it should not be determined by our differences in the natural resources. And other countries, so why didn't our President Barrow, the Barrow administration, not able to negotiate with Senegal just as Mauritania did, you know, with their gas, with their gas agreement with their, because it's the same.
Maybe Mauritania have found gas. We haven't found anything.
No, but we know that we found gas before Barrow came. You know, we know that we have.
There were attempts to.
No, they were clear information that we have petrol. We have no. Yes, I believe in him because he is the former head of state. What he says that he has oil, I believe in him. Definitely, I believe we have petrol, we have gas. So if Mauritania could negotiate, you know, with the Senegalese government to have a joint venture to exploit their oil, why not Senegal? Why not Senegal as well as Guinea-Bissau? So why not Gambia? Because it is the same corridor, it is the same basin. So
what is curious is that in the same corridor, Mauritania has, Senegal has,
it jumped Gambia.
And it jumped Gambia to.
You have farming.
So you think that's
my belief, my statement.
That's curious.
Yes.
Okay, finally, let's move to the Iraq-Iran. Oh, did I say Iraq-Iran? That is 40 years ago.
Israel.
40 years ago war.
Yes, Israel.
The recent crisis there. I mean, Israel started striking Iran, saying that they want to stop the nuclear making process there because they face an existential threat from Iran. Iran had vowed to wipe Israel out of the earth, and that should they continue to be nuclear armed, that's a threat to them. Of course, people have said, what about Israel itself? Aren't they or not already armed and nobody cares? Nobody goes there. They didn't open it to the IEA, you know, the International Atomic Energy Agency, to come and stop. Iran has been opening up its until recently when it pulled out from talks with America. The Americans too joined to bomb Iran's suspected nuclear sites. So what do you make of the conflict and President Trump's, interventions and comments and like that?
Yes, this is the war that they call the 12-day war.
Trump already
Trump called it, and then
Israel
obviously
Israel had a 6-day war in
Yeah.
1967 and all that.
So, but you just have to look at the contextual background, of this war, okay? Because like previously, Iran was governed by, let's say, almost a monarchy, under the Shah government, the Shah government.
I was a friend of the British, of the West.
From 1951 to 79. So when they had this Iranian revolution,
Islamic.
yes. So when during this Iranian revolution, with the coming of the supreme leader Ayatollah Khomeini, he declared Israel as an illegitimate state,
enemy state.
As a state that doesn't even exist. He doesn't recognize their existence. Okay, so Israel also believes that Iran is an existential threat. It's an
Existential threat.
Existential threat to them. So now this is the beginning. We can say this is the beginning of the Cold War between
the West,
between them,
Israel and between Iran and
exactly.
the West on the other.
Exactly. So now they started this war as proxies, proxy war. They do the proxy war. Meaning you assign, you war. The war happens in another territory. Whereby you are fueling it. You are pulling these things. You are giving them arms. You are giving them money. You are training them. You are giving them every available.
Iran had its backers.
Yes.
Israel, of course.
So mostly it is alleged that Iran backs the Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthi rebels, and among others within that region. So it is a regional war, in other territories. So they meet there to fight. You see, that was the reason why last year, Iran also, Israel had to bomb, the Iranian embassy, consulate in Damascus, in Syria. So the war, it started coming,
Proxy.
Proxy.
What we saw in the last 12 days.
But that was a direct confrontation. Okay. That was a direct confrontation, between, Israel and Iraq.
On one hand.
So now, what happened there? Iran surviving the war itself, is victory.
Really?
Yeah, surviving the war itself, surviving this war, whereby you've been isolated. You did the war yourself, no backing. You use your own resources. You use your own technology. You use your own tactics, your military. Then you were able to come out of this. You were able to survive.
So even that is a victory.
That alone is victory. So now you talk about the collateral damages that has been that has been done. What happened in Israel?
Civilians,
the civilians were killed in both countries. Civilians were killed in both countries. Institutions, were destroyed, particularly in Iran. Institutions were destroyed. But also you have to remember that also Iran's, idea to develop their nuclear program, has been sponsored by the USA.
When they were fighting Iraq.
In the 50s. In fact, in the 50s, with the coming of the Shah, they helped to develop a nuclear.
So the Americans have been not principled.
That they call atom for peace. So in developing this nuclear energy, Iran's intention to develop a nuclear program, it is also attached to their quest to develop medicine, energy.
They said for civilian purpose.
For civilian purpose. But the Westerners saw that, it is a threat. It is a threat to them, so that's why they started stopping them.
Yeah, they said it can also be continue to be.
Yes. So
Iran had always said it is for.
Yes, but in 2015, under the Obama administration, they had a nuclear deal.
Yes.
And then Iran had to briefly stop the progression of
and allow the
IEA. And also that as a result, they were able to relieve sanctions for them. Because remember that Iran since 2016 has been under
long before
under sanction. Officially, they were being under sanctions in 2016, 2006.
Yeah.
So and then it was until after 2015, in 2015 when they signed this new deal with
Obama.
With Obama. So which when the Trump administration came. He had to cancel. He had to cancel in 2018.
It was a disaster.
In 2018 he had to cancel that deal. So, but what you could also learn from this also, is that Iran is a typical example of a sovereign country. A sovereign country that develops its own energy, a sovereign country that develops its own military might. It's a sovereign country that develops its economy, its food need, etc. But throughout this war, they were able to survive. With their own means, despite the sanctions. So it's something very good. Now coming back, also to the relations vis-a-vis with Africa, or vis-a-vis with Gambia, with other Arab countries and OIC.
I was coming to that.
Okay. Go
that is okay. Given that now there's now it's a ceasefire, and then the role, many people have criticized the government as what they call inactive diplomatic stand until recently, very recently.
Poor diplomacy.
And then, of course, there is a curious thing, a condemnation of Iran for hitting Qatar, the American bases in Qatar. The Gambia government condemned that. And the Gambia government condemned Israel's attack on Iran.
Yeah.
So that's where you...
Yeah, the issue is that the Gambia, unfortunately, we don't have a foreign policy.
Oh.
We don't have a foreign policy. We don't
have... Whether you've revisited.
Yeah. So we don't have a foreign policy. If we have, then we are not applying it, as it is supposed to be. And Africa in general. Africa in general. We have a very weak diplomacy. This is the time that Africa should be heard on the biggest stage. That we have to tell them, okay, no, stop. We don't want war because it is not in our interest. Give them propositions, and this is also the time, that Africa also should come up with, trying to build its own military capacity. This is also the time when Africa also should try to build its own energy system. And this is the time that Africa also should try to build, to be self-sufficient in food, in terms of food, because there are other wars that are coming.
Oh, I hope not.
There are other, yes.
I hope not. But let's be specific in Gambia. People said we did not leverage our chairmanship of the OIC to be had, all over, or they wanted President Barrow as chairman to be flying all over these places to talk, try to find peaceful settlement to the conflict. Or are we just been overrated, or we what do you expect?
Yeah, you say, people say it reminds me of an interview with Diba. Former delayed Diba, GRTS, with President Jammeh. When he said, I heard people say, he said, no, don't say I hear, just say you say.
No, I heard,
and then I had to say, no,
we are not commented.
Yes,
said
but
the Gambia could have.
All of us, we say.
We said it, yeah.
We say that, Gambia has a weak stand, or President Barrow, is not fully implementing his OIC leadership, which could have also been used, to make us known in the outside world.
But
particularly events like this.
What is in this chairmanship more ceremony? Because we don't even have the might, the finance. You know,
but
the finance even for the president to be moving up and down. Maybe we
No,
don't even have.
no,
we don't have the influence. It's just a ceremonial. That's what I had believed.
Yeah, it is just as it is not only ceremonial. Even it is ceremonial, but there are purpose. You know, there are actions. You know, that you have to take as the president.
Or statements.
A statement.
Eventually, there was a statement.
But under the OIC.
Yes.
You know, it's because like they decided to take a neutral position.
But we were silent for too long.
Yes, or trying to observe what happened there. Whereas they should.
But at least Gambia was at the ministerial conference in Turkey, the foreign ministers conference in Turkey, and I think our position was yes, Israel shouldn't have attacked Iran.
Yeah, the issue is that it's so unfortunate that we have a very weak foreign minister, weak diplomacy. So, but other than that, we could have.
He's doing his best.
Yeah, what best? What is?
He's been all over this.
Traveling, just travel. It's easy to travel. All of us can do that.
I find it difficult to say. Because when people when they said, "Oh, the chairman of the OIC should be going to this place, should be talking, should be thinking," okay, I felt that aren't people asking too much of it? How in fact influential are we? Even though we might have been chair or host to the summit, but in real terms, do we even?
It means you are the president
do we even have any
you
way?
are the president that defends the rights of Islams all over the country. That institution is a very important institution in the world, and it is due to this kind of wars, that brought it, like the Palestinian war. The Israel war, but in later on, they have not been, engaging, the way that they are supposed to engage.
In the 1980s, when Iraq war, the OIC definitely. Jawara was in fact chairman. He was shuttling between those two countries, trying to.
So they are not using this. They are not using
what now?
These organizations to raise our voices.
And what do you make of Gambia's condemnation of the attack on the American bases by Iran in Qatar? That was considered to be, an attack against the sovereignty of Qatar. But most observers said, well, in the first place, it's the Americans that they are targeting there. The Qataris allow their bases in America to be used against Iran, allegedly. So they are targeting the Americans and not Qatar. But our government condemned that. And yet we condemned Israel for attacking Iran.
Yeah, so it's just based on their own interests. So it's only the president, and the government who could tell us the reason why they did that. Maybe they are an ally to
satisfy Qatar.
To satisfy Qatar. That is.
But if you condemn the fundamental issue, you condemn the fundamental issue, and now you're complaining about the reactions.
Yeah. So, and then that reaction also, it shows that Qatar, attacking the Iran attacking the U.S. base in Qatar.
Yes.
So it tells you a lot. How this war was going to the direction that it was taking. But luckily enough, there has been ceasefire. Mm-hmm. So let's see whether it will continue. But now, I think what we should be more particular of is what stand are you going to take? How future wars are going to affect us as a country and as a continent. I think these are very important, because as I told you, as a country, we have to make sure we work towards food sufficiency. Because when there are wars in this country, when they create this, you don't have enough. You don't have enough food. So we have to be ready as a country. We have to be ready as a continent. Also, the cyber space, the war is going to shift into other types of wars as well. The digital war. They can just jump one day, and hack or hijack the whole digital system, airspace system that no plane will fly here and there, etc. So that's also part of their That's also part of their strategy. So what are we doing as a country and also as a continent, to tackle that? What are we going to do also, to improve our military, system? Are we not going to, shouldn't we have a military base, Pan-African military base, in Africa, station in one country, whereby we are ready in case of any attack, against any one of us, and then we retaliate, because we have to be ready for it. We are a continent. We cannot do it as a country alone. We have to be united first. Yes, we cannot. We cannot do it as a country alone, but together, we can achieve that.
You are visiting Kwame Nkrumah doctrine 60 years ago.
Absolutely.
Right, Professor. I think we have to draw the curtain on the brunch today, a wet day actually. Thank you for accepting to be dragged from your house under the rains to come into the studio. But it's been my pleasure, and I'm grateful to Momodou Bah, Professor, also a politician. I think when he comes next week, we're gonna, or next time, not next week, but later, we're gonna explore happenings in his own movement. How do you call the movement?
Afro movement.
Afro movement.
African federalism and Republican orientation.
Wow.
The first Pan-African movement in the country.
So that's going to be his movement that he hopes will inspire people and attract them to vote for him as president in 2026. So don't be surprised if he had a stick or two thrown at the NPP and President Barrow. He's a presidential aspirant already. He attempted to be one in 2021. And hopefully this time maybe his candidature will go through.
Inshallah.
Thank you very much for being on the brunch, and thank you over there for being with us throughout the last 1.5 hours. The brunch will be back next week.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Jamano Money Transfer Bureau de Change, your go-to option when it comes to money transfer. With Jamano, you can send money from anywhere in the world to your family and loved ones in the Gambia and be sure the funds will be delivered to them within the shortest time possible. For your convenience, funds sent through Jamano Money Transfer can be picked from all the banks and multiple other financial institutions, including Ajib Bank, Trust Bank, GT Bank, Mega Bank, Basic Bank, Reliance Financial Services, and Approved Services. Visit our head office at Bruceby opposite AfricMed next to Trust Bank Limited or email us at info@jamanomt.com. You can as well call us on 310-3050 or 310-3051 or yet still 733-0688. Our opening hours are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. Jamano Money Transfer, your most trusted money transfer service where customer satisfaction is paramount. When you think of a simple, fast, and reliable money transfer, think Jamano Money Transfer.
Academician.
Mbijan raganyadi.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la
Ha, code nyinji.
Okay. Nsila ID soto.
Sa so. Sorry. Academician.
Mbijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariaka.
Mbale.
Mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariaka.
Jannom Yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbali ya bere. Birim koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolong blabe to.
56 branches mola soto Gambia jam.
Ha?
Gambia kono anin Gambia bantala bankol. Nka kodo kiya bere to. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi topoto nin kodi maraw. Jannom number 1 di nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi ma nin domorol dir fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je.
Wo mo yo diat ha.
Apelenta
Ni wo ka ni na lafta nyelen kendol e bina.
Yalo bu kanila ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Abaraka.